The sound of laughter echoed across the school gym as the boy stood frozen, a note crumpled in his trembling hand. It was the day he confessed his feelings. The girl, popular, sharp-tongued, surrounded by admirers, read his message aloud like a cruel joke, and everyone laughed with her. Years passed. Now a new student walked through the gates of the same school. Tall, athletic, handsome beyond belief. Girls whispered, boys stared. But he wasn't looking for attention. He was watching just one girl. She didn't recognize him. Not yet. But she would, because this time, she would be the one holding her breath. She would be the one waiting and hurting. Stay with this story, because sometimes the person you hurt the most comes back not to destroy you, but to show you exactly what you threw away. The courtyard was buzzing. It always was on Mondays. But this Monday the buzz was different, richer, sharper, almost electric. Students gathered in clumps, eyes drawn to the front gate. The new guy had just arrived. He didn't walk. He moved with calm purpose, his school bag slung over one shoulder, hair slightly tousled, uniform crisp. There was something cinematic about him, like he had stepped out of a movie and onto their campus. The girls noticed first. Whispers floated. "Did you see him? Who is that? I heard he transferred from an international school. Look at those eyes." Meanwhile, Lana stood under the archway near the main building, idly flipping through her phone. She was the undisputed queen of Silverline Highhead, of the student council lead singer of the school band, and often referred to half-jokingly as unreachable. Boys tried, none succeeded. She didn't play games, and she certainly didn't get impressed easily. But when her friend nudged her and said, "New guy, check the crowd," she looked up and paused. The boy cut through the crowd effortlessly. He didn't speak, just a nod here, a glance there. He didn't look arrogant, but deliberate, unbothered, like none of this mattered. He walked right past her, didn't glance, didn't pause, just kept walking. Her brows furrowed slightly. "Interesting," she muttered. Later that day, Lana was sitting with her usual crew at the back of the cafeteria when the new boy walked in again. This time the school really saw him. He walked over to an empty table, took out a book, Advanced Physics, and started reading. Someone dared to approach and asked his name. He answered politely, "Ryan." One word, that was it. Rumors flew within hours. He'd scored the highest on the transfer exam, spoke multiple languages, was on some regional martial arts team, had even won a national chess tournament at some point. It was as if someone had hit the perfect male lead generator and dropped him into their high school. Lana watched all of this with cool detachment at first. But something about the way he carried himself unnerved her. Not the perfection. She was used to that. She was perfection. What unsettled her was that he didn't seem to notice her. Not even once. No double takes, no curious glances. It was like she was invisible. That had never happened before. After school, Lana leaned against her locker as the hallway emptied. Her friend Keisha joined her, giddy from a brief conversation she'd managed with Ryan. "He's like, polite. But cold, you know," Keisha said. "He listens. But you know he's thinking something else." Lana shrugged. "Maybe he just doesn't care about people." Keisha smirked. "Or maybe he's the first guy immune to you." That stung. Lana covered it with a laugh. But deep inside, something flickered. A memory. A note slipped under her desk. A chubby boy standing awkwardly beside the vending machines. Her voice loud and mocking, reading his confession aloud to the entire class. The silence that followed. Then the laughter. Her laughter. She shook the memory away. No way that was connected. No way that boy could have become this. Still, something about his eyes. By Wednesday, Ryan was the most talked about person on campus. He didn't chase attention. It chased him. Teachers praised his answers. Sports coaches were already trying to recruit him. He even helped a junior pick up her books when she dropped them near the stairwell, and the video went viral on the school forum. And yet he still hadn't spoken a full sentence to Lana. By Thursday, Lana was watching him more than she wanted to admit. When he spoke in class, she tuned in. When he ran laps during PE, she lingered near the field. But he didn't return the energy. He never looked directly at her, never once acknowledged that they shared the same space. It was beginning to eat at her. She had no name for the feeling, only that it was new and uncomfortable. And somewhere deep down, familiar. Flashback, grade 8, spring semester. Lana had been younger, but already powerful. He had been nervous, his hands sweaty, the folded paper trembling between his fingers. He stood in front of the class after school, waiting for her reaction. She had taken the note, unfolded it slowly, and then she read it aloud, imitating his tone, making his words into a joke. Her friends howled with laughter. His face crumpled. He ran. That was the end of it. Or so she thought. Until now. Now the boy was back. Changed beyond recognition, sculpted, brilliant, untouchable. But something in his gaze, sharp, calculating, told her he hadn't forgotten. She was suddenly sure of it. And for the first time in years, Lana felt the one thing she never expected to feel from a boy. Nervous. Lana didn't sleep much that night. She told herself it was silly, just another transfer student stirring up temporary hype. He'd fade into the background eventually. They all did. But her thoughts kept drifting. To him. To his silence. To that memory she couldn't shake. By Friday morning, the sky was overcast, and Lana's mood matched it. She stood by the windows on the 3rd floor watching students trickle in. Then right on cue, Ryan appeared through the front gate, hoodie up, hands in his pockets, head slightly down. The moment he stepped inside, a group of boys called out to him from the hallway, trying to strike up a conversation. He nodded once and kept walking. Still not a glance in Lana's direction. Still that same cool indifference. The tension inside her deepened, not quite jealousy, not quite irritation, a strange blend of both. But there was no room for emotion in her empire. She had a reputation to uphold. At lunch, things escalated. She and her closest friends were walking back from the off-campus bakery, laughing and chatting, when a group of older boys dropouts from another school whistled from across the street. The air shifted. One of them stepped forward, grinning. "Hey, you with the red skirt? Smile for me, sweetheart." Lana's smile dropped. Another added, "Don't act like you're too good. Pretty girls need fans, too." Keisha muttered, "Ignore them, just walk." But Lana didn't move. Then one of the boys reached toward her friend's wrist and tugged playfully. The girls froze. Suddenly a voice sliced through the tension. She said, "Don't touch her." All heads turned. Ryan stood just a few steps away, his school bag still slung over his shoulder. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't smiling either. He stepped forward slowly, gaze locked on the boy who had touched Keisha. "What are you going to do about it?" the guy taunted. Ryan dropped his bag. Without a word, he lunged. It wasn't chaos, it was precision. 2 hits and the first boy staggered. Another tried to swing, Ryan ducked and jabbed. In under 30 seconds, the entire group had either fallen or scrambled away. He didn't even glance at the girls afterward. Just picked up his bag, dusted his sleeves, and walked off like nothing had happened. The silence he left behind was louder than the scuffle itself. Lana stood there, heart racing. He hadn't fought for attention. He hadn't even looked at her. But something shifted inside her in that moment. It was undeniable. That scene rewatched itself in her mind all afternoon. By Monday, she had a plan. Nothing bold, just small steps. She waited for him at the vending machine between 3rd and 4th period. When he approached, she smiled and tilted her head. "Hey, Ryan, right?" He looked at her for a beat, just one beat. Then turned to the vending machine and pressed his order. "I'm Lana," she said, still smiling. "I know," he replied without looking. The soda clunked down. He picked it up and walked away. Lana stood frozen. Keisha found her later. "Did he just walk away from you?" Lana scowled. I guess he's not into fake smiles. But inside it stung. No one walked away from her. Not like that. This wasn't just curiosity anymore. It was war. The next few days, she tried harder. She asked him for help in chemistry. He answered with one word. She dropped her pen near him in the library. He picked it up silently and didn't look at her. She even complimented his solo presentation in history class. He nodded once and said, "Thanks." It was like trying to warm stone. Still, she wasn't used to giving up. Then came the moment she cracked. Thursday afternoon, student lounge. She found him alone, sketching in a small black notebook. She walked over, sat across from him without asking. "You always this quiet?" she asked. He didn't look up. "Only when there's nothing worth saying." She laughed. "Ouch!" He closed the notebook slowly, finally looked at her. His eyes weren't cold. They were worse indifferent. She studied his face. Sharp jaw, calm eyes, not a hint of the boy she once humiliated. But it was him. She was sure of it now. Her voice softened. "Do I know you from somewhere?" He didn't blink. "No." A pause. "Are you sure?" she asked again, tone more serious. This time he leaned slightly forward, voice low. "You're not used to people forgetting you are you." She blinked. "What's that supposed to mean?" Ryan stood grabbing his notebook. "It means not everyone wants to remember the people who humiliated them." Then he walked off, leaving Lana frozen again, this time with a chill running down her spine. It was him. And he hadn't forgotten anything. Lana didn't go to class that afternoon. She sat behind the gym alone, her hands gripping her knees, replaying his words again and again. It means not everyone wants to remember the people who humiliated them. There was no doubt now. It was Dylan. The same boy she laughed at in front of everyone 6 years ago. The same boy who confessed his feelings and got crushed under the weight of her sarcasm and ego. Back then, he was awkward, overweight, and shy. Everyone called him Donut Dylan behind his back. And she didn't just go along with it, she led it. She made the jokes sharper, the punchlines colder. She was the queen of cruel. And now the world had shifted, and she was the one failing to get his attention. The next day she tried again. She approached him in the library. "I owe you an apology," she said, voice low, genuine. He looked up, no expression. "For what?" "You know what," she whispered. He didn't flinch. Must have been someone else. "No," she said, "it was me." He stared at her for a long time, then said flatly, "I know." The silence between them stretched thin. Lana reached for his arm. "Can we talk? Really talk?" Ryan stood. "I don't talk to people who only see others when it's convenient." She blinked, stunned. "You're being unfair," she said quietly. He paused. "You think this is unfair?" he said, his voice tightening just slightly. "Try being the fat kid everyone laughed at. Try getting rejected in front of a whole lunchroom. Try having that be the only thing people remember about you for years." Lana's mouth opened, but no sound came. He looked at her with something close to pity. "You broke something, Lana. You didn't just reject me, you made sure it hurt." Then he walked out. Later that week, whispers filled the school halls. Ryan had been scouted by a top athletic academy. He was going to represent the school in a national science competition. One of the seniors even posted a photo of Ryan sketching a detailed drawing of the school courtyard with perfect perspective. He does art too. The caption read, half admiring, half confused. The post got thousands of likes. Ryan was rising fast, but he stayed detached. No parties, no selfies, no attention-seeking posts. He simply existed better than everyone, but without asking for applause. Lana, once the school's untouchable icon, was now just confused, angry, and a little desperate. One afternoon, she found him in the art room, alone as always. "I want to make it right," she said, standing in the doorway. "You can't," he replied. "I was young. I was stupid. You were cruel. I didn't mean to—" "Yes, you did." His words were calm, quiet, but they landed like punches. She stepped inside. "I know I hurt you. I know I can't undo it, but can't people change?" He turned to her then. "Have you changed?" Her mouth moved before her mind did. Yes. He studied her. "Or are you just upset that someone finally ignored you?" That hit her harder than any insult ever had. For the first time, she didn't have a comeback. Ryan picked up his sketch pad and left without another word. Oh. The next day, Lana sat with her friends but didn't speak. They were talking about prom themes. She barely heard a word. Keisha nudged her. "You okay?" Lana looked at her. "Do you ever regret how we treated people in middle school?" Keisha raised an eyebrow. "Like who?" "Like Dylan." There was a beat. "You mean that kid who used to bring pudding cups and sit by himself?" Lana nodded. Keisha snorted. "He cried once in music class. I remember that." "Yeah," Lana said softly. "I remember too." She didn't say anything else, because now she also remembered the way he looked at her yesterday. like she was a ghost from a past he had already buried. The school's spring showcase came a week later. Ryan was chosen to perform a solo piano piece, something no one even knew he could do. When he stepped on stage, the auditorium fell silent. The lights dimmed. His fingers touched the keys. And what followed stunned everyone. A haunting, beautiful melody. Somewhere between sorrow and triumph. Lana sat in the front row, and somewhere in the middle of the piece she felt it. That ache. That guilt. That realization. She hadn't just rejected a boy years ago. She had rejected a soul. A person with depth and dreams. Now everyone could see who he had become. But she was the only one who knew what he used to be. The song ended. The room erupted in applause. Ryan stood, bowed once, and walked off, stage eyes never meeting hers. Lana didn't go backstage after the showcase. She couldn't. The applause still rang in her ears, but it didn't feel like celebration. It felt like judgment. Every cheer, every gasp of admiration for Ryan was a reminder of what she had once thrown away without a second thought. She walked home alone that night, arms wrapped tightly around herself. Memories came uninvited, his chubby face flushed red under the harsh cafeteria lights, her laughter ringing out above the crowd. The way he had stood frozen, holding the little folded note he had written for her. The note she had read aloud to her friends, word for word, and then tore up in front of him. He didn't cry that day. Not then. But his eyes, she remembered those eyes. She had crushed something in them, something soft and hopeful. And now those eyes looked through her. For the first time in years, Lana felt small, invisible, no longer the center of the world. She stopped wearing makeup to school, stopped brushing her hair into perfect waves. Some said she was going through something. Some said she was just being dramatic. But really, she was just trying to be real, trying to see what Ryan had seen all those years ago and what she had missed about him. She began to sketch again, quietly, at the back of the art room. Her strokes were messy, uneven, but she didn't care. For the first time, she was drawing for herself. One morning, she saw Ryan at the vending machine alone. She hesitated, then walked up beside him. "No protein bars?" she asked softly. He didn't turn. "They're always gone by second period." She waited, then said, "That piece you played? It was beautiful." A pause. "Thank you." His voice wasn't cold, but it wasn't warm either. "Did you write it?" she asked. He nodded. "I could feel it," she said. "It felt like everything I've never said out loud." Finally, he turned to her. "I didn't write it for you." Her throat tightened. "I know. I wrote it for the kid I used to be." His gaze was steady. He deserved to be heard at least once. Later that week, the school was buzzing again. Ryan had been chosen as class valedictorian. The top athlete was angry. The science club cheered. The music teacher cried. But Ryan was silent. He walked through the halls with the same calm presence, a mystery wrapped in grace. But Lana saw something else now. Underneath the confidence, there was still the boy. The one who used to flinch when someone laughed too loudly. The one who used to eat lunch behind the auditorium. And that made her heart hurt. Not out of pity, but out of recognition. Because she saw her younger self too. The girl who ruled through fear. Who thought popularity was power. Now she knew better. One Friday after school, Lana waited by the soccer field. She knew Ryan stayed late for practice. When he finally appeared, towel slung over his shoulder, she stepped in front of him. "Do you hate me?" she asked. He blinked. "No. Do you forgive me?" He looked at the setting sun for a long time before answering. "I forgave you a long time ago." She exhaled. "But I haven't forgotten." Her chest sank. "I didn't expect you to," she said. He studied her. "You changed." "I'm trying," she whispered. He gave the faintest nod, then walked past her. The next Monday, something strange happened. Lana wasn't at her usual table in the cafeteria. She sat by the wall, sketching in her notebook. Alone. Ryan passed by, paused, then sat down across from her. No words, just quiet presence. She looked up surprised. He simply said, "You have charcoal on your face." She smiled, small but real. The weeks passed. They didn't become best friends. They didn't hold hands or confess anything. But they talked. About books. About music. about the world beyond high school. Lana still liked him. She wasn't sure if he liked her back, but that wasn't the point anymore. Because this time she was listening, and he was letting her. At the senior farewell ceremony, Ryan took the stage. He spoke clearly, calmly. He thanked his teachers, his classmates. Then in a moment that made the whole room lean forward, he said, "Some people change, some people grow, some of us are lucky enough to do both." And he looked directly at Lana, not with anger, not with bitterness, but with understanding, and something close to peace. After the ceremony, she found him near the bleachers. He was looking up at the sky. "I'm scared," she said without warning. He looked at her. "Of what?" "That this is it. That I missed my chance to be someone better earlier." He was quiet, then said, "We all miss our chances, but we get new ones too." She nodded. "I'll keep trying," she whispered. He smiled for the first time in front of her fully. "You already are." A few months later, graduation day arrived. Caps were tossed into the air. Parents cried. Photos were taken in every corner of the school. Lana stood quietly beside the flagpole holding her diploma. She watched as Ryan took a photo with his music teacher, the science team, even the janitor who once let him practice piano after hours. Everyone wanted a moment with him, but he moved through them all with the same quiet grace, never fully attached. She didn't expect a photo with him. Not anymore. And yet, she wished for one anyway. Not for status, just for memory. But he never came her way. She went home that afternoon to a house that felt both smaller and quieter than she remembered. She took down all the old photos of her in cheer competitions, put them in a box, not because she hated who she was, but because she wasn't that girl anymore. She had learned what it meant to hurt someone deeply, and to carry that hurt longer than expected, but also what it meant to change. Not to be forgiven, not to be adored, but simply to grow. Summer passed in a blur. Lana worked part-time at a bookstore downtown. One humid afternoon, as she was shelving a row of poetry books, someone tapped her shoulder. She turned around and froze. Ryan stood there. No school uniform. No spotlight. Just jeans, a plain shirt, and that calm, unreadable expression. "I didn't know you worked here," he said. She nodded, surprised. "I didn't know you read poetry." "I don't. Not really. I just wanted to see you." Her breath caught. "I thought you left already," she said. "I did. I'm just visiting." A pause. "I remembered this place." Another pause. "I remembered you." They walked to the park nearby. He sat on the swing. She leaned against the pole. They didn't talk much, just let the wind pass between them. The sky was overcast. The air smelled of rain and dust. Finally, she asked, "Do you still play piano?" He nodded. "Every day." "Still writing your own songs?" "Sometimes. Mostly for myself." She nodded. "Do you still sketch?" he asked. Her lips curled upward. "Yeah. Not good, but it helps." He glanced at her. "Good and honest don't always come together, but I think you found both." Her throat tightened. "Thank you," she whispered. Before he left, he handed her something. A small notebook. She opened it. Inside, sketches of her. Some from high school, some older, some happy, some distant, some raw. She looked up, eyes wide. "You were drawing me?" He shrugged. "You were hard to forget." Then softer. "Not because of who you were, but because of who you could have been." She held the notebook like something sacred. "I hope I can still be her." "You are." They stood there for a moment longer. Then he stepped back. "Goodbye, Lana." Not cold. Not bitter. Just final. She nodded. "Goodbye, Dylan." Years later, Lana would find herself standing in front of a university lecture hall teaching art history to a sea of half-awake students. She kept one sketch framed above her desk. A charcoal drawing of a girl sitting in a library, messy bun, tired eyes, lips barely smiling. Drawn by someone who once knew her better than she knew herself. Sometimes, after class, she would touch the frame gently. Not out of sadness, but out of quiet gratitude. Some wounds don't vanish, but they stop bleeding. And some regrets don't go away, but they teach us who we are. Have you ever looked back at a version of yourself and wished you could whisper, "Do better"? This story isn't just about regret, it's about growth, and how sometimes the ones we hurt end up teaching us the most. Have you ever reconnected with someone from your past in a way that surprised you? Let us know in the comments, we'd love to hear your story. And if this touched something in, you don't forget to subscribe, and stay a while. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.